Good afternoon, class. Me and my lovely assistant here are going to demonstrate with you the fine art of bumping up plants. Bumping up is another word for uppotting or transplanting into larger pots your small seedlings which you have started indoors. So you might have heard me say that word before. I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. These are tomatoes that I've started earlier. I've got a couple of different varieties. I'm going to do my best to keep track of which is which as I do this. And you'll notice that in spite of having a powerful fluorescent light on them, they are still what we call leggy. They are still stretched out because they are reaching for the light. Outdoors, where there's wind that strains them, and there's just plain more light than even a good fluorescent light, you're less likely to see leggy plants. The only time you see leggy plants outdoors is in shade. So we're gonna enhance their root systems by planting them quite deep. Tomatoes respond well to that more than most other plants. Even plants that don't need to be planted quite deep still respond well to bumping up too, though, because I'm going to take all these little tiny tomato plants that are growing in one small cell of a cell pack, and I'm going to break them up and give each one its individual cell. So here they are. I just very carefully squeezed them out of here. I'm going to get a cell pack, wherever it is. This says Mini Roma, and there's no other labels on it, so I'm going to do my best to keep track of my Mini Roma tomatoes. I'm going to take this potting mix, peat-based, which I have already gotten wet, and I'm going to fill these cells about no more than a quarter of the way full, and you will see why. Tomatoes respond well to being planted very, very deep. Daphne, did you have anything to add?
Oh, yeah.
All right, now y'all can see what I'm doing. So those aren't very full.
Dad, can you please put it up? I wanted to say what I wanted to say.
You wanted to say what you wanted to say? All right.
Hi. As you remember, I'm Daphne. Remember the onion video?
I think they do.
Video.
I'll bet you they do. All right, Daphne, are we going to do our tomatoes?
I was there. And I can do the frosting.
Hey, Daphne, these are these yummy little grape tomatoes you like.
As you can see, I've got apple and string cheese to eat.
That's right.
Through the video.
All right. Well, here we go, folks. I've got my tomatoes. I'm going to break them up. And you can see I'm handling them by the root ball right now. There are two right ways to handle these and at least one wrong way. You can handle them by the root systems as long as you don't crush too many roots, or you can handle them by the leaves. Now, why? Because you're always going to damage some leaves when you do this. There's no way to avoid it. Whereas if you handle them by the stem, guess what? The stem is the only water conduit from the roots to the leaves, and if you mess up the stem, you're in trouble. So what I do is I take one little tomato and I lay it down nicely in a cell.
Dad, how
I take another one, it's
trouble?
hardly even got any roots on it, and I lay it down nicely. Oh, I'm not in trouble, Daphne. I just want to take care of my tomatoes. And I do the same thing with these two. You can see they're very nicely splayed out. Now, it doesn't really matter which way you lean the plants in there. You just need to bury them very deep. I did that so that I can easily reach in there and fill up my cell pack with soil. And you'll notice that I'm planting these very deep. I'm going to plant them at least as deep as the cotyledons, the seed leaves. Some people go even deeper. With tomatoes, you can do that. With most other crops, you want to plant them kind of deep when you bump them up, just so that they're less leggy and they're easier for you to handle. But with tomatoes, it is especially advantageous, like I've been trying to get at, because tomatoes will form roots from that piece of stem that you just buried. Most plants don't do it so well as tomatoes do. So now I'm going to firm that soil up, give it a nice cakey texture. Again, you want to go for about the same level of tamped downness that you would when you start seeds. You want the plant to still be able to breathe. Right, Daphne? Yep. But you don't want to make it too loose, or else it'll settle like crazy once this thing starts growing and the soil starts settling. All right, so there you go. I almost dropped it, but there they are. And you can see about how deep they are. Those are some fine tomato plants. Um, yeah, most other plants are about the same, only tomatoes benefit uniquely from deep planting. Here's something that benefits from deep planting, not because it roots so much, but because it is really, really leggy. These are tomatillos. We haven't talked about the Solanaceae, the nightshade family yet, but of all plants in any family, I have found tomatillos to be the leggiest, floppiest, most difficult thing to bump up of any vegetable I've ever dealt with. Very easy to break, so you want to be extra careful to handle by the foliage or by the root ball and not the stems, because the stem will just snap. All right, folks. Well, hopefully I'll show some more bumping up later and see some results on these babies.
He will. He means it.
Thank you, Daphne. You want to say bye to our class?
Bye. It's now. I'm now his assistant for a few videos.
That's right. Thank you, Daphne, dear.